What if you could be a cybercrime superhero? In the UK, there's been a 1,000% increase in the number of attacks in just 18 months, and £4.6 billion was lost to hacking last year. So that's where you come in. There are over 12,800 job opportunities in digital technologies in Scotland, many of them in cybersecurity. It's well paid. The average cybersecurity salary in Scotland is £51,200. That's more than double the average salary. UK companies sell cybersecurity worldwide, and sales are growing by 15% a year. So a career in cybersecurity is your passport to success anywhere in the world. Find out more at digitalworld.net.
There are thousands of exciting cybersecurity jobs across Scotland. Entry-level salaries starting at £25k and averaging £51,200. Choose ethical hacking and run controlled cyber attacks. Investigate data breaches and help solve cybercrime. Or what about data security? Identify threats and test for weakness. There's so many exciting careers to choose from. Find yours. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Are you interested in a career in cybersecurity? Finding your path is much easier than you think. Learn at school in computing science or gain National Progression Awards. Choose from a range of cyber apprenticeships. Gain qualifications in cyber courses across Scotland. Or learn at entry level and gain experience. There are so many exciting options to choose from. Find your path. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human. Cybersecurity is one of the fastest growing industries in Scotland. You can earn an average of £51,200. Fight against cybercrime and work on exciting projects. Problem solve with teams and work on global brands. Good at thinking outside the box or analysing, or seeing things that others can't. Whatever you're good at. Put your skills to good use in a great career. Find your opportunity. Visit digitalworld.net and become a digital human.
Hello and welcome to Cyber Skills Live. My name's Daniel, I'm an engineer and I'm interested in all things tech and security. You're about to get hands-on and learn cybersecurity skills in this interactive activity. Our digital world is powered by technology. From exchanging messages to turning on the lights, we rely on tech every day, and sometimes that's without realising the impact and the power that it has over our lives. We're totally dependent on tech, and we really need to protect it. A career in cybersecurity would mean that you play a key role in protecting this digital world. For every 2 job openings in the area, there's only 1 applicant, so there's a huge opportunity for you to go and have an interesting career. We need more people with digital skills to help make us more resilient against cyber attacks. With me today, we've got Craig and we've got Kirsty. Craig, over to you.
Thanks, Daniel. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. There really is a wide range of careers in the cybersecurity sector. Technology skills are really valuable, but this isn't just a career option for techies. It's a lot more than just sitting behind a computer. There are jobs in marketing, digital forensics, legal and project management and more. It goes across all sectors and skills. It's a career option for everyone. We're coming to you today from a secret underground vault underneath a bank. Okay, not really, actually just from the Digital Den here in Glasgow. And today there are over 300 of you joining us on the live stream. We're also lucky to have Kirsty, who's coming along today to answer some of your questions. Hello, Kirsty.
Thank you, Craig. Hello, everybody. My name is Kirsty. I'm the Cyber Resilience Community Lead at the Scottish Business Resilience Centre. So I help organisations across Scotland improve their cyber resilience, and I work closely with Police Scotland and the Scottish Government to help share information on the latest threats, scams, news and updates all about cyber resilience topics. I'm excited to be part of this live lesson today, and there are lots of you taking part and getting involved at home, so I'm going to give you a couple of shout outs. So if I shout out your school name, wherever you are taking place, I want you to give me a big cheer from your desk. Are we ready? Okay, so let's start. So, Braes High School, give me a cheer. I think I need a little bit louder. Braes High School, let me hear you. That's much better. Okay, we have Oban High School. Hello, Oban. Very good. We have Peterhead Academy. Give me a cheer. Good, thank you. Knox Academy. Let me hear you. Yeah, okay. And we've also got Driftwood Cinema. Yep, thank you for taking part. So there are lots of you getting involved today, and if you are tweeting along with us and if you've got any questions, please make sure to use the hashtag CyberSkillsLive, and you can tag us at DigitalWorldHQ. Now, I'll be back during the lesson to answer some of your questions that you've been sending in, and for now, I'll hand you back over to Daniel to get started. Back to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Kirsty. Today, all of you are going to become ethical hackers and see how you can use your digital skills to break into a fictional bank. Our activity is based on a real-life job role, which is an ethical hacker or penetration tester. Let's play the video.
It seems like every day there's a story in the news about a company being attacked by hackers or someone's personal details being released online. We're relying on companies to protect our personal information, financial details and banking records. But we need more people who have the digital skills to protect us from these types of cyber attacks. But in order to stop a cyber criminal, you have to think like a cyber criminal. In this interactive lesson, you'll step into the shoes of a cyber criminal and learn how to rob a bank. Your challenge is to break into Strathclyde Bank. First, you'll need to find a way to remotely connect into the bank's computer system. You'll use a command line tool to do this. Then you'll find a way to access the login names and passwords for all the bank's business customers. Finally, you'll log into the Strathclyde Bank website using these stolen customer details and transfer the money to our own secret bank account. This is a fictional bank, so you're not actually stealing anyone's money, but it will give you an insight into the way a company has to protect themselves from an attack. Now it's time to start the heist. Follow the instructions and see how much money you can steal before time runs out. So let's get started. So to play along with us this afternoon, you need to go to cyberskillslesson.com and you're going to play the How to Rob a Bank activity. So it's at the top of the page. So if you go to cyberskillslesson.com and choose How to Rob a Bank, it will work in any modern web browser like Chrome or Firefox. And what you're going to do is once you're on that page, you're going to follow the instructions and it's going to allow you to take part in this bank heist today.
Yep, so open up a web browser and go to cyberskillslesson.com. The link is down in the bottom of the screen. And once you're there, you want to look for How to Rob a Bank because that's today's activity, and then press to start the activity, and then you'll be able to get going.
So Daniel, it's Thursday afternoon. It's not often you get to take part in a bank heist on a Thursday afternoon, but that's what we're going to be doing. We're all going to be working together to try and rob this bank.
Yeah, I would personally go for Friday at midnight, but hey ho, it's what we've got to do. So we can see your progress as you're playing along. So if you get stuck at any point, don't worry. We'll be able to give you some hints and tips as we're playing. You want to be completing the activity while also being able to hear Craig and I talking. So you might want to have our YouTube link in a different tab, or maybe even on a phone or another device that's nearby. Later on, you'll need to have the bank website open, and you need to have that at the same time as the main activity because you need to go back and forth between them. So when you do that, don't close the main activity. But for now, just head to cyberskillslesson.com and go to How to Rob a Bank.
And as Daniel said, we can see you taking part just now as well. Well, we can see how far you're getting through the activity. Obviously, we can't see you. And there's hundreds of you playing along at the moment, and I can see a few people are just starting to join now. So if you've only just joined the video, you've just joined the activity, don't worry, you've got plenty of time to take part in as we go through this heist. So Daniel, we're robbing a bank today. Surely we shouldn't be doing something like that. What's the reason behind this?
Yeah, so there are people who actually get paid money to try and break into systems, and they're called ethical hackers or penetration testers. And the reason why these banks or tech companies pay these ethical hackers to do what they do is so that they can find issues and vulnerabilities that a real cyber criminal might use to do something malicious or to do some sort of criminal or destructive activity. So basically, we're doing the job so that the bad guys can't.
Brilliant. And the thing to remember is what we're doing today, this is a fictional bank, remember. So everything we're doing, we're not actually stealing anyone's money, but the steps that you're going through are based on the real sort of things penetration testers, ethical hackers and cyber criminals would be doing. This activity is based on real life cyber attacks. And the tools that you're using, they're going to be based on the same sets of tools and processes that would actually be used. And what's even more scary is some of the flaws in the system and some of the things that we're going to be exploiting and sort of finding our way in are real things that banks have done in the past. This is really how bank systems have been compromised as well. So talking about the tools and the processes, Daniel, the environment that everyone's using just now, this is a command line environment. Tell us a bit about that and what that's used for.
Yeah, so you're going to be interacting with our bank systems using a command line or a shell or a terminal. And you might have seen this before if you've ever gone into your command prompt if you use Windows or the terminal if you're on a Mac. And this is a different way of interacting with the computer. So instead of using your mouse and keyboard together to go and click on links and click on folders and things like that, you're having to type all the commands in and then you press enter when you want to run them. So it might seem a bit scary to look at or complicated, but actually it's not too bad. Don't worry, we're going to always have the instructions that you need over on the left-hand side in the instructions. It's a great skill because it might not be the type of thing that, we both work in tech, Craig, but we don't use the terminal every day, but sometimes we do, and it's really a handy skill to kind of have seen it before and kind of know how it works.
Yeah, even if you're not going into a cybersecurity role, knowing how to use the terminal is really useful for any sort of computing job. But an issue with using the terminal is the fact that sometimes if you type a command wrong and you make some mistakes and you make a typo, then the computer just won't understand what you're doing. So when you're taking part in the activity today and you're typing in these instructions, you need to be really accurate with them. And what I would suggest you do is don't type all the instructions. You might find it easier to copy and paste the instructions as well. So to do that, if you haven't done it before, you would, no matter what type of computer you're on, you would highlight the instructions and then you would right click and you say copy, and then you can paste it into the terminal area as well. That's one way of making sure that you don't make mistakes that way.
Yeah, and there's thousands of different commands in the terminal, but when we say it's good to kind of understand it, we don't mean memorize every command because no one knows all the commands, do they, Craig? I don't know them.
You don't? I don't believe you.
Do you know, I've got a book sitting on my desk that I was using the other day.
Like an actual book?
Yes, it's an actual book made of paper, and it's literally just tables of these terminal commands. So I can look up, okay, I want to do something with networking or with firewall rules, and I can kind of find the command I need. I don't remember them all. That's a good.
Yeah. I didn't know this was a book club as well as a cybersecurity club.
You can't copy and paste from it though.
Maybe I'll get the audiobook version. I'm into audiobooks at the moment. So in terms of people taking part, as we said, we can see how you're progressing through this activity. There's hundreds of you now taking part, which is really good, and you're starting to progress and make your way through the activity. And if you're just joining as well, I can see actually quite a few people are starting to join. Don't worry, we've still got plenty of time here. And the first thing that people are doing, Daniel, is they are sending a ping, so they're sending a message to check that the Strathclyde Bank website is basically switched on and available. So we're using a terminal to do that as well. And the very next thing that they're doing is they're connecting to that bank's computer. So they're using something called SSH. What is that, Daniel, and why is that a useful tool sometimes?
Yeah, so SSH, it's short for Secure Shell. And what that means is you can type these commands into your command line interface and they actually get run over on the bank's computer system. So you can remotely access what is located inside the bank, their servers. And I might think that seems a bit of a security risk, but actually it's necessary. Almost all big companies have people that either work from home that need to be able to access these work systems. It could be they have remote engineers or contractors that work perhaps in a different area, bit of the country, or maybe even abroad, and they need to be able to work on these systems remotely. It's not just anyone can access it though. You do need a username and a password, but that's where things have started to go a bit wrong here, isn't it?
Exactly. The problem here is that they're using this secure connection, but in order to connect to it, you need to know the username and password. But what we've seen as people are starting to find here is that in this example, the password has been revealed to us, so we know what the password is. The problem is that a former employee, we've managed to get access to their password. And that just goes to show you then that, how important having a strong password really is. In fact, it's one of the most fundamental things that you can do, because the minute we know this person's password, we're able to sort of get in and get access to so much that's on these banks' computers as well. So, and I mean, that's something that everyone should be really doing, is like choosing a strong password that would be difficult to guess and hard to be cracked as well. What's the best way to choose a password, Daniel?
So the current recommendations, Craig, are that you use 3 random words. And that's the method that's advocated by the National Cybersecurity Centre, who's part of GCHQ, who's kind of like the UK's internet spies. And basically, the reason why this is such a good method is because it creates a really long password. So to make a password more complicated and difficult to guess, or difficult for a computer to guess, you want to make it, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can make it more characters, so things like capitals, numbers, symbols, and they'll make it more complicated, or you can make it longer. And both do make it more complicated and more difficult to guess, but making it longer makes a much bigger difference. Like if you're going to do one thing to your password, make it longer, don't make it more complicated.
And that's what the problem here. Someone has chosen quite a short, maybe easy to remember password, but actually, easy to break. And, the fact that it's been compromised, it's been revealed, we can see what it is, means that you're all able to get into these systems just now. So yeah, that's a really important thing for everyone to be doing as well. Also, thanks for continuing to do this activity and watching us here on YouTube. If you're enjoying robbing the bank at the moment, remember you can like this video on YouTube as well, and you can subscribe for more of the cyber skills lessons that we do too. And I can see a couple of you have been giving us updates and asking us some questions. Daniel, maybe we could go to Kirsty now and find out if she's got any questions. Kirsty, hopefully you can hear us still. Have you had any questions in?
Yeah, thank you. We've got a couple of questions in here and I'm going to answer them both together. So we've had, where can I study ethical hacking, and what school subjects should I pick? So I'll answer those both together. So people who work in cybersecurity have a wide range of backgrounds, and at school, computing is probably a really good subject to pick. So if you've got an ICT department or computing, then definitely choose that one. And maths and physics are also probably pretty useful to have as well. Now, there are lots of ways that you can study cybersecurity. There's 14 universities across Scotland that offer different courses on it. So you can do it at university, at degree level, and ethical hacking, but there's also opportunities to do a modern or graduate apprenticeship as well. So studying cybersecurity is a good place to start. I hope that helps to answer some of your questions there, and back to you.
Thanks, Kirsty. So Daniel, how are people getting on? What sort of things are they doing at the moment?
Yeah, so people are all at different stages, but it seems quite a lot of people are navigating around the file system. So they're using the terminal and using the ls and the cd commands to either to list all the things inside that folder, or they're using cd to change folders. And then some people are also using cat, and that outputs what's inside a file. And there's people have found some interesting stuff actually. There's some stuff in the business accounts, I think.
That's right, yes. Someone's been able to, I think they found a file here that's got like the IT support folder, and inside that it's a list of all the usernames and passwords for everyone who works at the bank. So, you know, that's not a good idea to have like on your computer, just in a plain text file, having usernames and passwords. It's definitely not a good practice to have. Because what is that allowing people to do, Daniel, as they do this here?
Yeah, so basically it seems there's the all accounts list, this allaccounts.log file that people have found, but we don't have permission to read it, and that seems quite sensible. We only want like certain people in the company to be able to see all these business accounts, but actually the IT systems, the IT support people have made a huge mistake, and they've saved all the staff's passwords unencrypted just there. So all we have to do is read these passwords and then just log in as the manager, and then we can view the files, this all accounts thing. So basically passwords should be stored in an encrypted format. Sometimes it's called hashed and salted, and that's talks about some of the mathematics behind how they're protected. But basically you shouldn't just be able to see the password. They should be in this scrambled up format.
And when people are getting access to these files, Daniel, I can see what they're starting to do now is some of them are actually able to access some of the bank's customers' accounts. And what we're asking you to do is, if you manage to get into access one of those accounts, you're going to transfer that money to a secret bank account that we've set up. So Daniel, this is our big totalizer moment. Can you bring up our counter that we've got this afternoon?
I can indeed.
So, oh brilliant, £2 million already. So every time you steal some money from the bank, this totalizer above us is going to ka-ching and make a bit of noise, yes, just like that. And let's see how much money we can steal together. So every time you steal some money from this bank, we're going to see this totalizer go up. So there's hundreds of you taking part just now. We've already got 4 million, Daniel. We just doubled our money within about 10 seconds there. Now's our chance to see how much money we can steal for the rest of this activity.
Yep, so this is the point where we need to have the bank website open as well, so that you can log in as the different customers to access their funds, basically.
And I can tell you some of the people who's been taking part. I know that St Ninians, someone from there, has just stolen £10 right now. Well done. A couple of people from Stirling High School. Well, someone who's claiming to be the hacker name, not Stirling High School, has in one transaction managed to transfer £629,000. Thank you very much for transferring that to us just now. Who else have I got? Chris. Brilliant. An amount there from Chris, that's £308,000. Thank you very much for that, Chris.
I see that Harvey has stolen £705.75.
Well, 75 pence is really important as well, Daniel. Like, don't leave anything. Get it transferred over to us. Mr. M, I wonder if that's a teacher. You've managed to steal £36. Yeah, all right, okay, thanks. £36. Like, we've just set up this whole activity and you're going to steal £36, but we'll keep going. We'll keep going. Look at our totalizer now, Daniel.
£7 million.
Fantastic. So this whole sort of thing, Daniel, about like, what would you call this? Is this the sort of idea of when you log in as someone else, are you kind of escalating privileges, or what's the sort of thing that we're trying to do here? Why would we be going as far as trying to steal money from the bank?
Yeah, so privilege escalation is what we basically just had to do to log into the bank manager. So when we had that problem with the file permission, and we couldn't read this file, but then we logged in as someone else and we could. That's called privilege escalation, and that's usually one of the checkpoints you want to do as early as possible when you're an ethical hacker or penetration tester, because I mean, if you're going to log into this computer system, you want to go in with the highest possible access. Like, there's no point going in with the cleaner's pass. You want the manager's one. You want to see all the juicy files, all the stuff that could be secret.
Perfect. So, Daniel, I've had a couple of questions come in here as well, if that's all right. This is quite an open question, but I'm confident you'll know the answer. So this is from Adam. Hello, Adam. Thanks for joining. How many threats a day on average is what the question is?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways we could think about answering that. But actually, it might be worth even sort of thinking like, okay, what counts as a threat, and to who? Because it's really difficult actually to decide, well, what is a cyber attack and what isn't. So imagine we were working, Craig, in one of these security operations centres, which is what big organisations have. So if you see a picture of like a stock image of someone working in cybersecurity, they've got like 3 screens and it's in some like 24/7 centre. That's a security operations centre, and they're the people that kind of watch out for cyber attacks and things going wrong. But it can be quite difficult to tell whether it's, so say it was a login and you'd seen someone that tried to log in 10 times with different passwords and they got it wrong 10 times in a row. Is that someone trying to guess a password? Or is it just someone who's forgotten the password?
What my password is and I don't have my password manager.
So it can be really quite difficult to tell, and some of the tools that hackers use, they won't just, you might think, okay, well, if someone guesses 100 times in a minute, then that's definitely a cyber attack. But then what the cyber criminals do is they go, okay, we'll just try once in an average, like a random amount of time between 10 and 20 seconds, so it doesn't even show up if you're looking at speed. So it's very difficult to tell. But
lots is the answer, isn't it? So like, and that's why we need more people with these cybersecurity skills, because when you've got potentially hundreds of these hundreds of these attacks potentially being attempted every minute of every day, then we need teams of people who have the skills to know how to protect things, how to detect if an attack is actually happening as well. And the opportunities in this area, as Kirsty was saying, are massive in the jobs as well. And I think, Daniel, taking part in the session today, we seem to have a lot of people who are pretty skilled in this area. For example, Red Fox has managed to get £694,000. Thank you for sending that into our bank account.
I think I can top that.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, or you could give British Home Stores there.
Yeah, British Home Stores, they weren't doing so well for a bit, but their fortunes may have changed because BHS has managed to transfer £208,837. Brilliant, thank you very much for transferring that.
I can see here that TJ has stolen £793,046 in just one transaction.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I can see Lourdes as well taking part, £140,000. Thank you very much for that.
Rudy's done something interesting. They stole 99p, and then what they did about a minute later was they then stole £584,281. So they kind of like practiced, just checked that it was all working, and then they went in for the kill.
That's a common technique, isn't it? Also, like some people seem to have like signatures, like they won't take the full amount out of the account, they're just leaving like a penny behind, which is quite interesting as well. Boroughmuir, Mrs. D, she's straight in there with 571,000. Thank you very much for that, Mrs. D. And someone else from Boroughmuir has just managed to steal 600,000. Thank you very much. Transferring that money. Now, just if anyone's joined the chat late, this is not a real this is not a real bank, I promise. But thank you for transferring this money into our secret account. How are we doing, Daniel, here?
We're doing very well. We've got 30 million already, and we've still got at least another 10-15 minutes to get that total up.
Fantastic. So even if you have done some bank robberies, keep going. We want to try and get that amount as high as possible. Should we give ourselves a target for the next little bit, Daniel?
It's very difficult to say because it's getting faster and faster. Like I want to say something like 100 million.
100 million?
Yeah, by the end of the session.
Okay,
I know it's ambitious,
million.
but I think we can do it.
100 million is ambitious, and I mean 100 million in less than half an hour. Okay, let's go for it. 100 million pounds, right? Okay, so if you are taking part and you're stealing the money, then I want you to try and get us the highest value as possible. See if you can get us up to 100 million pounds before we finish the activity.
What you might find is, as more and more of these accounts are having their balances kind of stolen, they might already be empty by the time you log in as one of these customers. Someone else might have beaten you to it. So you might have to scroll further up the list of accounts to find one that's still got money. And if I were you, I'd be going and finding the big amounts first. Like,
the big fish?
Yeah, the big fish. Like.
So I can see that there's a lot of people taking part just now. In fact, there's over 185 people right this second interacting with the accounts on the server. So that's a good sign. That means there's even more of you taking part right now as well. So what would £43 million buy us, Daniel?
Do you know, I was actually looking online recently, and you can actually buy a Dracula-style castle in Romania. Like an actual castle for that
You're
amount of
right
money.
now?
Yeah. Yeah, 43 million. And we've now got 2 million, 3 million, 4 million left over to renovate it. So, yeah.
Okay, so 47 million pounds, yeah, not bad. I mean, I think for 47 million pounds, what I would buy, I don't know, I could buy like a music label or a record or a film studio or something like that. Yeah, I think it would be enough for 48 million would be about, I mean, you could afford to buy yourself an ice cream every week for thousands of years. You could treat yourself. Can you tell my mental maths is pretty good? Excellent. So who else is Annie? Thank you very much. You've just managed to steal us £35,000. Thank you very much, Annie. Scotty 1189. Yes, 11,000. Thank you very much for that, Scotty. Who else is coming in, Daniel?
Oh, let's see. I can
you
see
get in.
Craig has stolen 465,000. I assume that's not you, Craig.
It's not me.
Mr. Robot 593,000. Ashton
it's
1 pence.
The Mr. Robot. So I can see that there's a few errors that are coming up on the system here, Daniel, about usernames and passwords to log into the bank's account. So generally, what would your sort of advice be there?
Yeah, so I think what I would do is double check that you're putting the right thing in the username and the password field. So like in this list of all the accounts, there's a few different bits of information. Make sure it's the right ones. But it might also be that these accounts have already had money stolen from them. It could be that they're empty. So maybe that's what the problem is. So
yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I think I'm just checking here, and there's still money in some of the accounts, but there's some accounts might be empty. So my advice would be make sure you're typing in the username and password really accurately. So copying and pasting it would be the advice. Yeah. So and another thing, Daniel, if you are trying all the accounts that you can see on the screen, but none of them are working for you, you can run the command again. So you're going to use that cat command again, and the shortcut to do that is press up on the keyboard, isn't it, Daniel?
Yeah, if you press the up arrow and then press enter, that'll rerun your last command, which should be the cat one, and that'll read the file again. And the file will look slightly differently because there's bank accounts that have been emptied since it was last loaded. So that's another thing you could do.
Fantastic. everyone's doing a good job here. What do you think we should do, Daniel? While people keep working through to get these millions of pounds, should we see if we've got any more maybe questions from Kirsty, or see if we can connect to her again?
Yeah, let's jump to Kirsty just now and see if she's had any questions. So Kirsty, have you had any questions come through?
Thank you. I've got another couple of questions here. So I've got someone asked, why do we need cybersecurity experts? And the other question was, how much do you get paid? Which is another good question. So let me start with, why do we need cybersecurity experts? Well, there's on average about half of organisations, 46%, have revealed to be victims of cyber attacks. So you can see here, there's a real importance to sort of secure organisations and prevent attackers from gaining data, assets, money from all these different types of businesses. So there's a real need for cybersecurity experts here, and people like you that are developing the skills to try and protect organisations against these types of attacks. And it's not just banks that need cybersecurity. We need all organisations to think about their cybersecurity and resilience. So we need experts that can work across all different sort of sectors. You know, it doesn't matter what type of industry if you're in. If you trade online, if you host people's details anywhere online, we need experts to basically protect that information and assets from these attacks. And the second part of that question was, how much do we get paid? So that's always a common question that we get, and cybersecurity industry is a very well paid industry. So the type of job that you're doing just now is a penetration tester, and as a graduate or a junior pen tester, you can earn anything between £20,000 to £30,000. And obviously the more experience that you have, and depending on the type of industry that you're going to work in, that value can increase, so you can be earning anywhere between £40,000 to £70,000. And the average salary for a pen tester is about £42,000, so that is more than double the average salary for someone in Scotland. So it's a real opportunity here to, if you're considering working in this field, then that is a great place to start. And there's obviously lots of job opportunities out there for you to think about if you're looking to do that, and they're expected the number of cybersecurity roles to increase by 3%. So we definitely need experts to try and fill those roles and help protect organisations. So thank you very much for that question, and back to you.
Thanks, Kirsty. It's really well paid, isn't it, Craig? I think we've had.
Yeah.
Not
as much as we're getting at the moment.
Yeah,
we've broken our target.
We've broken our target. I don't feel so silly now. That was quite risky.
And I should really thank those people who are still continuing to put money into us as well. So we've got Dalry Secondary School, brilliant. I can see you going through it now. Ruth from Buttermuir, thank you very much for £186. Every bit of money helps as we do it. And we're seeing more people from Knox Academy as well. Kirk, you're taking part. Buttermuir, Alistair as well. I think people now realise that as they copy, I think people are copying and pasting the usernames and passwords now, which is why we're getting them much, much quicker as well. Also, a shout out to the cyber criminals from the University of Edinburgh who are taking part today as well. Thank you for taking part and stealing some money. Not bad for an afternoon's work as well, through to them. And let's have one more shout out as well. So Cami, £176, and Mary, £4,822. So 125 million, Daniel. That's probably going to buy us something nice as well.
Yeah, that would buy us a few castles, wouldn't it?
We could probably buy some wind turbines to power to power the castle as well.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, about 15?
About that, yeah. So if we were, how might a bank or an organisation like this have prevented the type of attack that we are doing? What are you doing that?
Yep. So let's bring it back to back to the ethical hacking kind of like, because after the ethical hacker's broken into the system, they've got to then make a list of all the things that they found, and then often they'll suggest fixes or improvements. So one of the big thing that I would suggest here is they implement two-factor authentication. And all bank accounts in the UK actually need to have this now, so that would stop this kind of thing happening. And what two-factor is when you type in your username and your password, you then need to give something else an extra bit of information. So often with a bank, that's like a code that's generated from like a card reader thing, but it might also be sent to you as like a text message. And that then proves, okay, you know the username, you know the password, and you've either got this device, phone, so it's just an extra layer of security, and that would stop this problem happening.
So I know, Daniel, from my own experience of doing this type of thing as well, I was looking at it and Google had a report out that basically said 98% of cyber attacks could be prevented by using something like two-factor authentication.
Yep. So it makes a huge difference, because even if it was just like sending text messages with these codes, what's the chances that the cyber criminal has the person's phone or is able to clone the SIM card? That's a tiny fraction. And these codes also expire after a few minutes, or sometimes even with the readers, the physical tokens, they might only be like 10 or 30 seconds. So it makes it extremely difficult. So even if they did have the username and the password, they wouldn't be able to get into the account, and that's why it's such a good security tool. And it's something you can actually turn on for most of your personal accounts, not just your bank account, but you could have it on your email, Facebook, Snapchat, etc.
I think turning it on for things like the PlayStation, your email, your social media accounts, that's another good, a really good line of defence for yourself as well. And it's one of the few things that you can do that's actually going to really reduce the risk of you being involved in some sort of cyber attack as well. So two-factor authentication is a really good way to protect it, but if only Strathclyde Bank had known to implement that ahead of time. If only they hadn't put all their passwords in a plain text file and left a post-it note out with how to connect to their system as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps they'll learn.
I hope so. They're not going to be in business much longer at this rate.
So we've got about 5 minutes left, Daniel. Let's go for it. What do you think we should be aiming for here? I don't know how much money's left in the bank, so I don't want to give like a huge, but I think that see how close we can get to £200,000 within the next 5 minutes would be brilliant.
Yeah, I think 200 is a realistic target, assuming there is enough money left. I can see it's getting a bit slower.
I don't want to be greedy. Yeah, I don't want to be greedy.
I think that's enough.
Okay, so as quickly as you can, keep going through these accounts. Let's see if we can get to £200 million within the next 5 minutes. Brilliant, let's do that.
Yep, if you've already found a load of accounts, come back and find some more. There is more to be found, and if you're trying lots of them and they've got no money in them, reload that file. So run the cat command again. So press the up arrow to reload that command and then press enter, and you'll get a whole new list of accounts, and hopefully some of them will still have some funds available in them.
Oh, I can see there's still lots of people playing along. Mo, you've stolen £58. Danny as well, £22,000. SDB, £184 as well, and another person from Boroughmuir as well has just stolen £750,000 in one go, so well done.
Yeah, Ewan's just stolen £250,000. Claire's just stolen £750,000. SDB, £184. Maybe that's all that was left in the account.
Do you know, every time someone from Dalry Secondary School steals some money, it's a big amount. They've just stole £440,000 in one go. Well done, Dalry.
Yeah, good game plan there.
Yeah, maybe we'll be seeing, with the amount of money that they're stealing, Dalry, maybe we'll be seeing a lot of vintage classic cars, valuable possessions heading that way soon.
New College Lanarkshire might be beating them. Might be a bit of a bidding war created, because I can see that they've just stolen a huge amount, £292,000.
Brilliant, excellent. £184 million, Daniel. We've got another 16 million. Let's do it.
I can do it.
Let's do it. Also, while you're here, remember you can like our video on YouTube as well, and you can subscribe we've got more lessons coming up over the next couple of months as well. So if you've enjoyed robbing a bank and you're also maybe interested in defending rhinos, that's the next lesson that's coming up. And then after that, we've got one about finding a data leak in an organisation as well. But for now, keep your focus on the bank. We're nearly there, Daniel.
We're nearly there. I think we're going to do it. I'm calling it.
Roberto, who's going to push us over the edge? Who's going to give us that 200,000?
Oh, that's an excellent point. Let's watch out for that. Because we can see the bank's account system from the other side.
You do it, Daniel. Yeah, maybe we'll have to have... I don't have a party popper, but we could have some sort of victory moment. Right, you keep your eye on it, Daniel, and tell me when we've done it.
I think it's going to be maybe like 2 or 3 more transactions potentially.
I'm tense.
Oh, we're very close now. Oh, 200. Who was it? It was Knox Academy, I think, bumped us over the edge because they just transferred £527,000 to £597.
Brilliant, well done, celebration. Woo!
Yep. And just before that,
high five.
Let's see, what side are we going? This way? No,
that way.
That
way. Yes. So, well, who was it that got us over the line there? Was it Knox?
I think it was Knox, but it also could have been Alistair at Boroughmuir because he transferred £646,267 literally 1 second earlier. So I don't know which one it was that pushed us past the 200 mark.
Do you know what, Daniel? This was a team effort. I think everyone should share in that glory as well. And yeah, of course, we'll make arrangements after the session to make sure that's all split, that money evenly between everyone who's taken part.
Just like the tipping system at a franchise restaurant, it'll get split between everyone.
Equally. You're in charge of that, Daniel. We'll follow that up at some point.
Okay.
So I think that at this stage, this has been so much fun this afternoon. Thanks everyone for taking part. We've done it. We've managed to rob a bank. I wasn't sure how we would get on this afternoon. I know a lot of people are having to, you're not all in school doing this, you're not all in college. There's people from all over the world who've been taking part as well. But it's been really fun doing it as well.
It's been really fun. There's been so many people. Like, I don't actually have the number of how many people that are playing, but it's in the hundreds. Like, it's many hundreds.
It's hundreds, and I don't have the exact number because I think it's still loading on my screen at the moment there, but that's a good sign because that means that there's hundreds of you taking part as well. So Daniel, what should be people doing as they start to come to the end of this activity?
Yep, so if you want to kind of see more of these things on YouTube, if you like and subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get notified when our next broadcast is going to be. If you are a teacher or you're part of a group, then you might want to go to cyberskillslesson.com and sign up to our mailing list. And then you get an email whenever we open up more for registration. But we do have some more that are ready for registration at the moment. We've got one coming up actually in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks today, which is called Defend the Rhino. That's a data science themed workshop.
Yeah, it's really fun. We get to see how data scientists are using technology to sort of defend rhinos in one of Africa's biggest national parks. So completely different from robbing a bank, but a lot of fun as well. And you don't have to have a knowledge of data skills, but a love of rhinos would be useful for that.
Yep. See if you can protect the rhinos from the poachers using data science.
So thanks, Daniel, for taking part in the session today, and thanks everyone for joining. I should also thank Kirsty for answering those questions coming in for us as well. But other than that, thanks for taking part, and we will see you on the next live lesson. Thank you.
Bye-bye.